Hey, welcome back to On Purpose Christian Coaching for Women. I'm Jamie Miller, and before we jump in, let me just say something. If you are feeling tired right now, if you're behind on wrapping, behind on work, behind on rest, behind on joy, you're not alone. This time of year brings a unique kind of pressure, and I've been hearing it from so many women. Honestly, I've been feeling some of it too. Just this week in my Saturday email, we talked about looking to God for rest in a season where our hearts are constantly pulled in every direction. But today I want to go deeper. I want to talk about why we feel so behind, even when we're doing our best, and what God is actually doing in that space. Because what if feeling behind doesn't have to mean failure? What if it's this holy invitation? Let's get into it. Y'all know there is just something about December. It exposes the parts of us we've managed to outrun the other 11 months. It just seems louder, busier, emotionally heavier, and every expectation, ours and everyone else's, seems to just all hit us at once. But most women are carrying two different kinds of loads in December: the actual work of life, but also the invisible emotional load. That invisible load is like remembering every gift and every schedule, managing everyone's emotions, keeping the traditions going, trying not to disappoint anybody, holding the atmosphere of the home, making sure everyone feels like they're comfortable at home, trying to hear from God while everyone else needs something from you. Now, psychology actually shows us that women often blame themselves for not carrying all of this perfectly. But God never asked you to carry it perfectly. In Psalm 55, verse 22 says, "Cast your burdens on the Lord, and He will sustain you." Not manage all your burdens flawlessly, not carry everyone else's expectations, and certainly not be everything to everyone. He just says, "Give it to me. Let me hold what you were never meant to carry alone." So here's what I want you to hear. If you feel behind right now, it's not because you're weak or incapable or not good enough. It's because you're human, and God never designed your soul for the pace of this crazy world. He designed your soul for Him. When a woman tells me, "I just don't feel like I'm doing enough," here's what's usually underneath that comment. She's exhausted. She's overstretched. She doesn't have space or time to hear God. She's carrying this guilt that she was never meant to carry. But there's something even deeper. The enemy loves December. He loves this time of year. What a perfect time of year for distraction and division, because he can just twist all of this comparison into shame. He can twist expectation into pressure and fatigue into, "See, you're failing." But John 10:10 tells us the enemy's job description. He says, "The thief comes only to steal and kill and destroy." So what's he stealing first? Peace. Because once your peace is gone, everything feels heavier. But this is what Jesus says in the very same verse. "I have come that they may have life and have it abundantly." Not have it perfectly, certainly not have it all figured out, and not you need to have a Pinterest Christmas. He just says life. Have life abundantly. That's enough grace, enough breath, enoughness. So if you're feeling behind, let me say this gently. You are not behind in God's timeline. You might just be tangled in everyone else's. And all of this Christmas rush was never part of God's plan. I mean, let's face it, throwing Jesus a birthday party, plus dinners, school parties, office parties, potlucks, etc., etc., etc. It's not biblical. Do you ever wonder what God actually thinks about all of this? Like, children, what are you doing? Why are you doing this to yourselves? I never even said you had to celebrate his birthday. I can just hear him saying, be still. So have you ever noticed that those moments where you felt behind were actually the moments when God was doing the deepest work in you? It's hard to notice that when we're not slowing down, though. But sometimes this slowing down is actually a breakthrough. Sometimes our frustration can turn into redirection. And sometimes when we take a pause, it can actually be protection. Isaiah 30 verses 18 to 22 talks about this, and I believe he's talking to women here. I mean, he was probably talking to everyone, but just listen. I'll tell you what I'm talking about. Starting with verse 18, Isaiah says, "Yet the Lord longs to be gracious to you. Therefore he will rise up to show you compassion, for the Lord is a God of justice. Blessed are all who wait for him." And then verse 19 says, "People of Zion, people who live in Jerusalem, you will weep no more. How gracious he will be when you cry for help. As soon as he hears, he will answer you. Although the Lord gives you the bread of adversity and the water of affliction, your teachers will be hidden no more. With your own eyes you will see them. Whether you turn to the right or to the left, your ears will hear a voice behind you saying, 'This is the way, walk in it.' Then you will desecrate your idols, overlaid with silver, and your images covered with gold. You will throw them away like a menstrual cloth and say to them, 'Away with you.'" Okay, so this part is what I was talking about, where I think he's talking to women. I mean, who would really be the ones to actually understand the context of tossing a menstrual cloth? I mean, it's gross to think about it, but you know God wouldn't waste a word. So he is using this to make a very clear point. Not only is he making sure we know that he will be there with us when we listen for his voice, but you know what he's talking about? He's talking about quiet, stillness, turning back to God. He doesn't yell over our chaos. He whispers into our stillness. I'm imagining some of the women joining Breakthrough 2026 have said something like, "I don't want to live another year in overwhelm. I don't want to keep guessing what God wants. I need clarity." Here's what I would tell those ladies today. Sometimes the feeling of being behind is actually God repositioning you for something new. He needs us to listen and toss away our idols. He needs us to put him first, and he needs us to get rid of the things that are blocking us from putting him first. So what if we slowed down in December so he could actually begin speaking into our January, speaking into our 2026? What if he's making space right now in your heart before he can make a move in your life? Y'all, don't beat yourself up for being behind. You're being prepared and positioned. So let's get really practical. This week, I want you to try 3 things, all right? 3 steps to shift you out of this pressure of December and back into his peace, all right? When we feel overwhelmed, we have a tendency to just check out. We have a tendency to doom scroll, or maybe we just frantically start making to-do lists. We start planning, but I want to challenge you. Do this 5-minute quiet reset. Before you scroll, before the checklist, before the world gets a vote in your day, sit with God. Even if you're in the car or the bathroom or just right when you wake up in the morning, you can say, "Lord, I give you this day. What do you want to say to me?" Psalm 46:10 tells us, "Be still and know that I am God." He doesn't say, "Be productive or impressive or be enough." No, he just says, "Be still." Then step 2, ask the one question that breaks off this pressure every morning after you sit with him for 5 minutes and ask Him, Lord, what do you want to say to me? The next question is, Lord, what do you want to carry for me today? And if you're listening, He may actually show you that you're carrying a fear that you don't need. Maybe it's a relationship you don't have to fix. Maybe a burden that you've been dragging along. Maybe there's a responsibility that isn't yours. Maybe it's a pace that He never assigned to you. Y'all, this one question can change everything. Lord, what do you want to carry for me today? Okay, then step 3 is called the one task rule. So this week, instead of trying to accomplish 29 bajillion things, just pick one thing each day that actually matters. One intentional step, one meaningful task, one thing that moves your heart or your family or your calling forward. What is the one goal that matters most for the day? Ecclesiastes 4:6 says, "Better one handful with tranquility than 2 handfuls with toil and chasing in the wind." God isn't asking you to run faster or do more things. He's asking you to walk with Him. Slow down and be intentional with one thing at a time. So, to recap, step 1 is the 5-minute quiet reset. Step 2, ask God what He wants to carry for you today. And step 3, just pick one thing that matters most for the day to focus on. Okay, so listen, you are not behind. You're not disappointing God. You're not failing your family. You are not the only one feeling this way. You're just a woman who's trying. You're a woman who cares. You're a woman God is leading gently, purposefully, faithfully. And when you feel behind, that's not a sign that God is far away. It's usually the moment that He's closest. But are you paying attention? Are you listening to His voice? Are you laying down the idols and tossing them like a menstrual cloth? This week, just breathe. Slow down. Listen for the whisper. You do not have to push your way into clarity. Allow God to lead you there. I know a lot of you have already signed up for the Breakthrough 2026, but if you haven't, and you're walking into 2026 wanting less overwhelm and more peace, if you're craving clarity about where God is calling you next, then Breakthrough 2026 is for you. It's a 4-week live group experience to help you uncover what's been holding you back spiritually, emotionally, and mentally, and step into clarity and calling. If you can't make it live, that's okay. All the sessions are going to be recorded, so you'll have access to them for the entire year till December 2026. We kick off on January 7th. That's the first Wednesday. And you can learn more at coachjamiemiller.com/coaching, or I'll put the link in the show notes. But I would love for you to join this group of women just like you who are ready to break through the chaos and craziness of the new year and focus on hearing God's direction for 2026. Thanks for listening to On Purpose. If today's episode encouraged you, please be sure to follow the show, share it with a friend, and leave a review. And if you're ready for the next step, head over to my website, coachjamiemiller.com. It's time to stop surviving and start truly living on purpose.